It is 12 minutes past 8 o'clock, and the chit-chat already began during the break. Rachel Heinrichs is here. She's the food editor for Toronto Life, and this edition is just about to hit newsstands. The 30th annual Where to Eat Now, the best new restaurants. There it is. Love it. So excited when it shows up in my mailbox. And so we were all starting to talk already about some of our faves. But let's start with some of the trends that you're talking about in the magazine. Italian home-style cooking. That's a trend we're seeing in restaurants across town?
Yeah, absolutely. The last couple of years, we've seen a lot of Italian restaurants, but this year alone, handmade pastas and wood-fired pizzas really took over. We saw at least 15 new Italian restaurants open this year, which is huge for Toronto. Three of the restaurants on our top 10 are Italian, and that's really representative of what's going on out there. And a lot of it is because Italian cooking really relies on seasonal food, and it's a very simple way of cooking, and it's very comforting. So we saw them in all areas of the town, from Cabbagetown to Roncesvalles, and downtown there was Italian restaurants.
Yeah, I see the Familia is the new one in Cabbagetown on Amelia Street, which used to be a French place, I think.
I don't know what used to be there.
I used to live in that years ago, but I'm sure that that's where the French place was, and then this is great.
Yeah, it's a really cute sort of Victorian house that they took over. It feels really homey.
So are we seeing big sort of familial style family dishes?
More or less, yeah. So there's a couple different ways. There's two styles of Italian that we see going on. There's a place called Aria. It was #3 on our list, and that's downtown by the ACC. It's very opulent, and I think they spent $1 million designing the room. It's beautiful, and that's a little bit fancier, and it's a little bit more expensive, and it's a haute take on rustic Italian. And then on the other end, with Familia, you see, that's where you see sort of family-style platters and risottos and spaghetti and meatballs, things like that.
Really? You know, it's interesting to me because if I can make a good spaghetti and meatballs at home, why would I go out to a restaurant and spend that kind of money?
That's you want to go out
I felt that way for a long time, but I think you're right about this sort of down-home Italian cooking, because Enoteca Sociale was my favorite restaurant last year, and it's very simple food. You know, it's just pasta with some, but there's something about it.
It's not just the food. It's going out and being part of a communal experience, even if it's just you two.
Social.
You're around, you're social, there's all of the elements, it's their interpretation of it. But there's other stuff going on. Canadiana is another trend we're seeing?
Yeah, absolutely. So 3 restaurants opened up pretty much all in a row that really were inspired by Canadian heritage. And you know how we've been seeing in fashion for a long time, there's a lot of heritage collections, and that really seemed to hit restaurants this year. So the one that we liked the best is called Carawa. It's in Parkdale. It's Toronto's first native Canadian restaurant. And the chef there, his name's Joseph Aaron Barobe, and he's doing wonderful things with pemmican and bannock and bison and things like that. It's totally new for Toronto, and it's really, again, it's comforting food, but it's sort of, it's something totally new.
How would you describe a Canadiana for the uninitiated?
Yeah, well, the second you walk into Carawa, you can just smell this kind of applewood smoking on his grill. So there's he uses a lot of sort of foraged ingredients and things like line-caught trout from Lake Huron, a lot of local ingredients. Very, very simple things like bannock, which was, years ago, a native Canadian sort of tradition. It's just flour and water, but they're doing really fancy versions of it to make really sort of beautiful biscuits, things like that. So there's sort of fancier takes on traditional.
How many people put this list together? So you guys are what? Are you eating out every day? Have you tried all the new restaurants?
I've tried most of them. So there's a team of about 6 or 7 really experienced critics. They're wonderful, but we do it anonymously. So unfortunately, I can't give a shout out to them. It's really important for us to keep our objectivity, which is why we do it anonymously. But I think there's about six people that contributed to this, and it's in the works all year. We're eating constantly.
Right. Now, these are the best new ones. I mean, is there a trend that's gone now? Gone, forget about it.
Are we done with the charcuterie whole action? That was just everywhere all the time. I had never heard that word in my life, then I heard it about 50,000 times in the past year.
Yeah, I think it is starting to wane a little bit, although meat is, the relentless sort of march of meat keeps going.
Barbecue, right? Is that the big hot one?
Yeah, we saw sort of since about 2008, barbecue's really been creeping in. This year, it kind of got elevated to a whole new level. There's a place called Bark in Roncesvalles that, for the first time, the chef there started doing barbecue with sort of white linen service. So you can sit down. It's no longer just taking fried chicken out on a bucket. So you can sit down and really enjoy barbecue, Southern barbecue in a way. There's also a place in Little Italy called Acadia that did a very elevated take on Southern food. Matt Blondin is the chef's name, and he's doing very sort of almost fussy plates, fussy takes on Southern food. It's incredibly artful, his dishes. So they're really, whereas it was just smoked barbecue and ribs and things like that, now it's sort of, people are doing really creative and artful
And we're
things
doing
with it.
fancy cocktails and paying a fortune.
I know.
What's that all
Absolutely.
about?
The $30, $40 cocktail.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, there's a couple of reasons why they're so expensive.
Mixology, like there's a whole, it's like there's a school
Culture
now
there.
for putting, like you have to get a degree to put a cocktail together.
And I think those bartenders would probably argue that the cocktail is an experience. So it's, and you
It better be a really good
They're
experience
going to have
for
to light me on
$40.
fire to get me to spend $30 on a cocktail.
But I would also say that a lot of them are putting, in their defense, in the defense of the expensive cocktail, they do put a lot of love into them. There's a place called County General that opened up, and the bartender there actually, you know, she spends days making her garnishes. So for example, I think it's a Manhattan that they make, but they have this cherry in it, and the cherry is macerated in booze for about 2 days before it actually goes in the cocktail. So they're really treating the cocktails like their own dishes on their own. I'm not sure. I think they run around $15 usually.
Oh, okay.
That's not
okay.
bad. That's not bad if you're going to put all that
There
effort
are
into
more
it.
expensive ones.
For sure. Okay, and then so on the flip side, there are great trendy places you can eat in this city for under $30.
Yes, that's very true. One of the things we talked about at the break, one of my favorite places is Grand Electric. It's a little taco stand. You can get 3 tacos.
Can you get in? Who can get in? That's the problem. I read about them. You know, we all love Mexican here, and it's like 2-hour waits.
That's true. You have to show up early. I think they open at 5, and you put your name on a list, and they call you back. The reason why there are those long waits is that they're just these tiny little operations. They're 20 seats, and it's really hard to snag one of those seats. But when you do, they're super fun. They serve bourbon and tacos, and it's all really sort of cheap and fun, and it gives you this sort of feeling of, you know, being at.
So wait, so you
Bourbon
show up
and
at
tacos.
5, and you show up at 5, and there's a lineup already. But you put your name on a list, and you have to go away and then wander around.
Go to Costco.
They call
You can go to Costco.
There's so many
You can
places.
go for a drink. You can go for a drink nearby, and they'll call you.
I might try that.
The drink will be more expensive than your tacos.
Have a $30 cocktail, then you
And
can't
that
pay
where
for
is
your
Grand
dinner.
Electric? It's
It's in Parkdale.
right.
I would also say a good place to eat on the cheap is our #1 restaurant was Yours Truly. They do a prefix menu, but they also do bar snacks, which is really fun. They have a whole menu, and I think they're all around $9 each, and it's just a really fun way to try a little bit of everything.
Where's that?
It's on Ossington.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All
So,
right. People are still going down there?
Yeah, actually, this restaurant is that strip. So Yours Truly was our #1, and we were totally blown away by it. So surprised. It just opened in January on Ossington, which isn't known for, you know, it has a lot of restaurants, but it's not exactly known for the great ones. And this one completely surprised us. Yeah.
Fantastic. Amazing. Well, I'm going to be zooming home to see if this has hit my mailbox yet, because I read every single page. Rachel Heinrichs, food editor for Toronto Life. Watch on newsstands soon for the 30th annual edition of Where to Eat Now, the best new restaurants. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
I know you.